TDS and TCS. Actually, I am more into academic side, but this topic is given to me, and you will decide whether I have done justice to it or not. Registration as it is a first step, and everything will start now. Migration has already been started. Goa has already started. Maharashtra also from Portugal has been started. And every IT there is a problem. Even yesterday when they are given this migration, the OTP or this thing, the OTP was not received. There was some problem with the mobile operators. So I got one live example how we did. Today morning we did one successfully. But once it is done, it is very smooth. But till that time, because you don't have any other option. You have to sit before the computers, do whether why he has not received, computer will not tell you. So that is a problem with the IT, and they don't have any help desk, no help desk is there, no, you cannot call anybody else. Because there is no helpline is there now. I don't know why they have done this. They should have provided some help desk number or something like that. So that at least, if you have any query, you can go to that particular number or whosoever, call that person and ask what is the problem. Whole day yesterday, that OTP mobile operator problem was there. OTP was not received by so many people. And today, when I tried once, somebody has received 6 times. I will get the migration and subsequently. First, let us who is required to get the registration. The registration, as I said, is the first step. Every person is liable to be registered under Schedule 3 of the GST shall apply for registration in every such state in which he is liable to pay tax. Now, what is Schedule 3? I will come to that. But he has to register in every such state. That is most important. Though they have said unified tax, one nation, one tax, one India, one tax. But since there are 29 states plus 2 union territories, 31 almost, and one state, one in center. So you have to register yourself in all the states. That is most important. So even for a service tax assessee who are having a central registration right now, they also have to register themselves in each and every state if they are having operations in that state. Now, Schedule 3, there are 2 criteria, turnover based criteria. Now, every person registered or holding license under the earlier law, for him the turnover is there. These slides are prepared earlier, so 9 and 4 lakhs. Right now they are saying 20 lakh rupees. We don't know for North Eastern state what will be the criteria. But every person who is registered or holding a license under any other law, for him the turnover will be applicable, turnover based criteria. Aggregate turnover, financial year more than 9 lakh rupees and other than North Eastern states. And for North Eastern states, it's a 4 lakh rupees. So North Eastern states I have listed down. It's self-explanatory in my presentation itself. Now, what is the aggregate turnover? Aggregate turnover to be computed on all India basis. The 20 lakhs turnover, what they are right now, what they are saying, is the turnover for all India. For VAT and for local sales tax, you are having the turnover of say Maharashtra 10 lakh rupees, Gujarat 10 lakh rupees. In Delhi, say maybe, or in Northern it may be 5 lakh rupees. So each state you are having the turnover, and you can do the business in each state without registering if the turnover is below that limit. But under GST, it's not that. It's aggregate turnover. So if your turnover crosses in Maharashtra, say about 20 lakhs, then if you do a rupee 1 transaction in Gujarat, you have to register yourself. So aggregate turnover will include. So comfortability is there. If I keep it at the end, then I will be benefited because you will forget that. So you can raise the questions.
GST and IGST, is it one member across India or is it again state-wise?
I think you are too advanced. Let's go slow. Come to that. So the aggregate turnover will include all taxable supplies, all non-taxable supplies, all exempt supplies, export supplies. So everything is covered under the aggregate turnover. The 20 lakh rupees limit, what they are saying, is what GST Council has said, right? What it will exclude is the basically taxes charged for supplies under CGST, SGST, IGST, supplies on which tax is charged under RCM, and value of inward supplies. So all these taxes charged and the supply which you are receiving RCM on which you are paying the taxes, those will be excluded from the aggregate turnover. Basic custom duty on import of goods, stamp duties, calculated transaction tax, this will be included in the value of supplies. Now Schedule 3, as I said, it's every supplier shall be liable to register under this Act in the state from where he makes the supply if his turnover in a financial year exceeds that limit of 20 lakhs or 9 lakhs what they are saying right now, but it will be 20 lakhs. So, if you are making supplies from here, that is the place of supply and time of supply. If you are making supply from Maharashtra, then you are liable to register yourself in Maharashtra. If you are making supply from Gujarat, you have to take a registration in Gujarat. Another is the business transfer to another person, whether under succession or otherwise. So for that also the turnover criteria is there. Amalgamation, merger, demerger, etc. transfer shall apply for registration. Then taxable person having multiple business verticals in a state will obtain separation for each business vertical. So that is a benefit given if you are having a different business verticals as per the accounting standard 17 by ICAI. So like you are having in Maharashtra, suppose if you are having a cement factory, plus you are having a retail showroom also. So you can take a separate registration for both those business verticals. Otherwise, there will be only one GST and will be allocated. You cannot take multiple numbers in a state. Multiple number in a state will be allowed only if you have a different, and that also, if you want which to take, you can take it. Otherwise, you can go for a single registration. Now, non-turnover based criteria. These are the people or the persons to whom the turnover criteria is not applicable. Person making interstate supply. So if you are making any interstate supply between the two, like Maharashtra to Gujarat, Maharashtra to AP, then the 20 lakhs turnover limit will not be applicable to you. For a single rupee transactions, you have to register yourself. Why? Because it's a destination based consumption tax. Whatever taxes you have paid on your inputs or whatever it is in Maharashtra, those will be transferred. Say if I am selling the goods, not selling now, the word sale, purchase are of no more relevance, it's supplied. So if you supply the goods from Maharashtra to Gujarat, then the tax also will be moved from, the goods or services will move from Maharashtra to Gujarat. Similarly, the tax also will move from Maharashtra to Gujarat. So that is why there is no turnover criteria for interstate sales, interstate supply. Person required to discharge tax under RCM, that is presently also it is there. If you have to pay any taxes under service tax, under the reverse charge mechanism, like manpower, rent-a-car, legal fees, director facility fees and all these things. So in all these cases, the turnover criteria is not applicable. You have to pay the taxes upfront. Even if a single rupee transaction you enter, you have to liable to take the registration. Casual taxable persons. Casual taxable persons, registration I will deal with separately. Those who are having a seasonal nature of business. Non-resident taxable person. Non-resident taxable person means the person coming to the state from outside. Not outside means not from the outside of the state, but from the outside India. So casual taxable person will include any person coming from outside the state and doing the business in Maharashtra state or any other state. A non-resident taxable person is a person who is coming from outside India and doing some business which is liable to GST. For them also there is no turnover criteria. Person who will deduct tax under section 37. Those who are liable to pay deduct the tax at source on the supplies made under the respective, I will come to that separate chapter is there for that. So TDS is also there, and RCM is also there. Then brokers and agents who supplies goods on behalf of other person. So any broker or agent who supplies goods on behalf of other person, he will also not get any benefit of turnover based. ISD. ISD is a mechanism where the head office distributes the services, common services or specific services to its units, its own units. So ISD mechanism is already in place in the service tax or CERVAT, I would say, Central Excise and Service Tax. Similarly, here also they have brought the same thing. Person who supplies services excluding branded through e-commerce operator. So any services which are supplied through e-commerce operator, not under the brand, through e-commerce operator, they also will not get the benefit of any turnover criteria. Electronic commerce operator, all these Flipkarts and Amazon, they will also not get the benefit of the turnover. Aggregator who supplies services like Uber is there, Ola is there, such people. Any other person or class of persons was notified by the central government. And if a person is taking a voluntary decision, for him also the turnover based criteria will not be. Now you see under the GST, you will find everything. Tax deducted, TDS is not there under service tax or central excise. It is there in the GST. RCM reverse charge mechanism is not there under the VAT. It is also there. TCS, tax collections so at source, is not there, neither not in service tax, but in VAT it is there in some respect. That is also brought in. So the liability of making payment of tax is cast on the receiver of supplies. Just like what we are saying in income tax, TDS. Around 80% collection is done through income tax. Only about 20% remaining that we have so much of machinery. Similar thing I think will happen here also. So basically the person who is receiving all those, I think under TDS or RCM or DCS, he has to pay the taxes on behalf of the other person. And that is the best way to collect the taxes without any hassle, because they have to catch very few people out of the entire assesses, lot of the assesses. But taxable supplies shall include supply carried out on own account as well as made on behalf of all the principals. As I said, in the agent also, you don't get any benefit of turnover. So if the agent criteria is there, so in that case, right now, agent is either working on behalf of the principal, then he is not showing that turnover as his turnover. But here, under this GST scenario, the agent will be, whatever turnover will be done by agent, that also will form part of his turnover, not the principal's turnover. Supply of goods by principal to job worker for completing job work will not be considered in aggregate turnover of the job worker. This is one only grace, saving grace is there, I would say. Any principal sending goods to job worker and the job worker is doing the work on that goods, he will be liable to pay GST on that job work charges, but turnover of those goods will not be included in the turnover of job worker. You are very what you say?
GST may be still right, but CGST and IGST may be one number.
So you are saying CGST will be entire India will have one CGST. I think they are given the GST number. We will come to that, and that time I will Now these are the rules that was under section. If the job worker doesn't return the goods within 180 days, then the principal has to reverse the credit along with interest. The job worker is not liable. Job worker is not liable. The principal has to reverse that whatever credit he has taken on those inputs, which has been sent to the job worker. The principal has to return that, reverse that credit.
Sir, suppose job worker uses his own material. In case of ready-made garment, button and thread is used by job worker.
See, his job work charges will be treated as an aggregate turnover. No?
Okay.
The person who takes voluntary registration, does he lose that?
Does he?
Does he lose the exemption?
Yes, definitely. From the day prior to that date, whatever he can take, after that he cannot take any exemption. Suppose if you had crossed the turnover of say 2 lakh rupees and you took the value registration, from thereafter you will not get it.
Right now in the service tax, you are
The
registered.
service tax is a different thing. In VAT you don't get such a thing. In VAT if you, this is it's a hodgepodge. VAT, service tax, some part of central excise, some part of customs is under GST. GST is basically the hodgepodge of everything. So in service tax you get the 10 lakh rupees exemption, even if you take the registration. But such kind of thing is not there in VAT. I think they have, what I normally say in my lectures, that is, normally what we do, we take the best of 2 words. Here they have taken worst of 4 acts. Yes.
So suppose during the GST regime, I am sending a few articles for job worker to someone else, but the job worker charges GST on his services, whatever he has done on the product, right? But as of now, if we are sending in central excise rules, if we are sending a product to the job worker's end, it doesn't. Service tax is not being charged on it. If we are sending it via good 4-5 challan, right, sir? Because at the end of the day, government will get central excise duty on final clearance of that specific product. So, job working is being taxed under GST regime?
See, I think we are right now on registration.
Yeah.
Job working, the charges received for job work, they are taxed because that is a service.
Okay. But right now it's not being taxed.
See, right now what is happening, 7 तारीख तक कुछ नहीं था, but 8 तारीख को क्या होगा किसी को पता नहीं है. So it is very difficult, I am saying. See, they want to tax everything now, except exempted supplies, other are non-taxable supplies. Otherwise, everything will be taxed.
Sir, in case of consignment agent,
You raise query only which are related to registration.
yeah, only
Because otherwise, my session will go up to 5:30, and you have to define your snacks. That is the problem.
with respect to registration only, so if a principal is sending goods to the consignment agent, who is further selling the goods, so here the principal must also have to take the registration.
Yes, absolutely. Principal has to charge. I am saying every supply. That is what he said. It will not.
If the principal is outside India, then
If principal are outside, then it will be import, no? The agent will pay IGST on that.
no, so he has the customers in India, so he is selling goods in various states in India.
Correct. But
Who
then
consignment agent?
person who is importing the goods in India, he is agent. For the matter of GST, he will be treated as the importer.
So for principal, he don't have to take registration.
No, not import. Because he is not in India, no.
Right.
If he wants to take, he can take under non-resident taxable person. These are from the rules. These rules are draft rules. We are going through those rules. Application for registration have to be made in Part B, Form GST RG1. In Form Part A, you have to fill up the mobile number, email ID, name, and all these things. 7 pages to be filled up and 4 pages instructions. So electronically, along with specified documents, to the common portal. It's a common portal for both, for state GST as well as CGST. GSTN is there. Scan copies of documents is a constitution of business, details of principal place of business, details of bank accounts, details of authorized signatories, photographs would have to be uploaded along with the application for registration. You know, the problem with the scan copies. Huh? Difficult, very difficult. I'll come to when the migration they are given there. And other things is okay because you have to take registration. But photograph bhi dene. So you have to ensure which photograph you give. Aadhaar card you give, nobody will recognize you. But you have to give the photograph that is must in there and all the other details. On receipt of application of registration, an acknowledgement shall be given electronically in Form GST RG2. See, everything is going to happen electronically. You are not going to go there or not either he has come to visit you or asking for documents. Everything will be done electronically. And everywhere they have provided a time limit. Everywhere. maybe 3 days, maybe 15 days, maybe 7 days, whatever it is. So, on receipt of application of registration, an acknowledgement shall be given electronically in form GST RG2. During the verification, if proper officer requires any clarification with regard to any information or documents furnished or application is deficient, he may intimate electronically in form GST RG2 within 3 common working days from the date of submission of application of registration. So the moment you submit your application, within 3 common working days, he has to intimate you the deficiencies. Now what do you mean by, see we all used to know what is the working days. The common working days क्या है? Common to whom? Huh?
Excluding holidays. Excluding holidays.
So correct, but common to whom? Common man? Or common to assessee and the officer? Or common to assessee plus a state government and central government? Common to whole country. So sir, if you are not working on, say, department is not working on Saturday, but you are working on Saturday.
If it is a holiday in Maharashtra but it's not in Delhi, so it will not be there.
That is what I am saying. That is what I am saying. So it's not a working day; it's a common working day. A common working day means for all, for assessee, for state as well as for central. A new terminology which we have never seen. So ऐसे कुछ लोग आते रहते हैं, you know, we have to go through those things. But the most important, as I said, the time limits are prescribed, and the most important, that is Right to Service Act, is not required to be separately enacted. It is already there in the rules itself. Applicant have to submit clarification, information or documents electronically in form GST RG4 within 7 common working days from the date of receipt of intimation. Everything, as I said, everything will be done through electronically. So he cannot say, okay, I have passed my intimation on 2nd, but he will post it on, say, 15th of that month. He can't do that. It has to be done electronically. If officer is not satisfied with the clarification, intimation, information or documents furnished by the applicant, he shall reject such application and inform applicant electronically in form GST RG 05. Officer have to give reasons in writing for such rejection of application. As I said, within 3 common working days, he has to intimate you the discrepancies. If he has to reject it, he has to give the reasons. If he doesn't do that within 3 days, 3 common working days, that means it is deemed to be allowed. And that is most important provision, I would say. Because once it is deemed to be allowed, you can't do anything. And we can see what is happened, the practical experience in VAT, where now you are having electronic registrations. The entire ground floor is empty now, nobody goes there. So, I think we are moving toward this. Definitely there are issues. As I said, yesterday we faced the issue of OTP was not going, but then ultimately it has gone and things will happen. We have time to do that. So everything will be done through a system. Only problem is we are at the mercy of the system. Now which system we don't know. Whether GSTN is having problem, whether your computer is having problem, that is very difficult. Because browser sometimes it works in a very what to say, very different way actually sometimes. You don't have to know which browser is good, whether Mozilla अच्छा है, Internet अच्छा है, Google अच्छा है. When application for registration is rejected, it shall be deemed to be a rejection of application for registration under SGST, CGST and both. So you have applied for a state government to state government for registration. And if that is rejected by the state government authorities, then the application under CGST also will be rejected. So you have to comply with both. Now whether, I don't know, means that application doesn't say anything about that. Almost I think requirements will be same under both. I don't see there will be separate requirements.
Sir, application is deficient and we do not intimate within 3 days. So where is it written that it will be deemed to be registered? Because the words used are may intimate. If the application
It
is
is there
sufficient,
in the act.
but the word used are may intimate.
There is no point in them having the time limits, no? What is the purpose of giving time limits?
Because we have seen many case laws in.
Forget about case law. Right now we are just हम लोग मंदिर में चढ़ रहे हैं. पूजा सब बाद में होगी. अभी तो मंदिर में चढ़ रहे हैं तो केस लॉस क्यों चाहिए? The time limits are given here itself. And the act itself is said.
Sir, what he says, instead of may,
I understand.
He shall intimate.
I understand, but there is a in the act itself it is provided. It is seemed to be granted. Why you want to have a share and all this? And right now why we should go into litigation? See, they have given the time limit within 3 days, even within 4 days you have to comply. If you don't comply within 4 days, you will reject it. Similar thing will happen to him also. So as I said, if it is rejected on the SGST, it will be rejected on the CGST also. So you have to be very sure that you comply with all the things, all the documents and everything. For SGST, automatically CGST also will be. Now, issuance of certificate of registration. On examination of application and accompanying documents, officer will grant certificate of registration within 7 common working days in form GST RG 06 for the principal place of business and for every additional place of business from the date of submission of application. So you will get the certificate from him within 7 working days, 7 common working days. Registration would be effective from the date of which person becomes liable to registration if application is made, submitted within 30 days or from the date of application. So if you apply within 30 days from the turnover limit, then it will be granted from the turnover when it is exceeded. If you apply after 30 days, the date of application, voluntary registration from the date of application. And all TDS, TCS and all these things from the date of application, you will get the registration. Now what will have the certificate will look like? Means the number. Each taxpayer shall be allotted state-wise PAN-based 15 digits goods and service taxpayer identification number. That is the GSTN number. 27 is the Maharashtra state first 2 digits. Then there is a PAN. Then entity code 13, blank 14 and check date is 50. So in the GSTN, the state code as defined under the Indian Census 2011 would be adopted. In terms of the Indian Census, each state has been allotted a unique 2-digit code. 27 is there for the state of Maharashtra, 09 is for Uttar Pradesh. So likewise, right now also in BAT we have such kind of thing. Similar thing will be there. The 13 code, the 13 digit would be alphanumeric 1 to 9 and then A to Z. Would be assigned depending on the number of registration the legal entity having the same PAN as within the one state. So this is like that 13 digits will be if you have to have multiple registration in a state, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then after 26 it will be A, B, C, D up to Z. So 1 to 9 and then A to Z. So 35 maximum registration you can have. What will happen thereafter? That God knows. Because right now they have provided only 1 digit for them. 35. So what will happen? Because you will have 1 to 9, A to Z. Then they will start AA or A1. You don't know that. But the problem will be if they have like that A or A1. Then,
the digit will be more than 15 then.
that is one thing. No, problem that will be one thing. Secondly, while making payment, you will be definitely in trouble. Because you make payment under one GSTN code. Suppose A. Instead of that, if you put A1, that is not happening right now in the service tax also. They have given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You make payment under 5 instead of 3. Then that 5 you have to claim refund and 3 again you have to pay. That is going to happen in this case also. So you have to be very particular while making the payments and all these things. So as I said, this for example, a legal entity with a single registration within a state, single registration, multiple registration will be available only to our business verticals. Would have 1 to 13 digit as a GSTN. If the same legal entity goes for a second registration for a second business vertical in the same state, the 13 digit of GSTN assigned to this second entity would be 2. That is 1, 2, 3 like that. This has 35 business verticals, same legal entity can be registered in this case. So there is a physical verification is also there. If the officer is satisfied that physical verification of the place of business of a taxable person is required after grant of certificate of registration, he may get such verification done and upload the verification report in form GST RG 26 on the day following the date of such verification. So once he does, right now nobody will bother about your verification of all these things. Only in VAT cases they go for verification. Wherever they say it is some dangerous, some bogus or places are there, then they go for like, or some industries or some kind of what do you say, commodities are like iron and steel, chemicals, they go for verification. Similarly, I think in this case also GST, they will design some this thing under which, for which industry or for which product they should go for registration. Because to avoid the bogus registration, the physical place is required. So they will go, and the verification report has to be uploaded the very next day. That time limit is also given. Registration of casual and non-taxable person. Now your query was there, no, for CGST. See, for every state you will have number, that is GST number. You have to pay the taxes as a CGST and SGST. Number is same. This number will be one. You have to, when you discharge your liability, you have to pay CGST and SGST or IGST. So there will be separate numbers for, I think, CGST, IGST and IGST. For each state, you will have a separate number depending upon that prefix, 2709, whatever it is. Casual and non-taxable persons who have to apply for registration without availing this threshold limit, it will have to apply in RG. So you have it. Form RG 10, at least 5 days prior to commencement of the business. So those who are in these exhibitions, people who are holding exhibitions, or any casual person who is coming here and doing some work contract or something like that, or the non-resident person coming from outside India and they want to take registration, they can take the registration. Prior to 5 days, they will take the registration. Now, what is a casual taxable person? A casual taxable person means a person who occasionally undertakes transactions involving supply of goods, services in the course or furtherance of business, whether as a principal, agent or any other capacity in a taxable territory where he has no fixed place of business. The fixed place of business is defined under the GST Act. So wherever he is not having fixed place of business, like as I said, exhibitions are held, or somebody is coming from Gujarat and doing some work over here as a carpenter or something like that. In such cases, he has to register himself. Non-taxable, non-resident taxable person means a taxable person who occasionally undertakes transactions involving supply of goods and services, whether as a principal or agent or in any other capacity, but who has no fixed place of business in India. That is the difference between these two. Even though non-resident may be a casual also, but he cannot treat him as a casual. He has to treat him as a non-resident taxable person. Such a taxable person have to make an advance deposit of tax in an amount equivalent to the estimated tax liability. So he has to compute his tax liability in advance and pay that amount in advance to them. They will be given the temporary registration. I'll come to that. Certificate of registration would be for 90 days from the effective date of registration, and such period may be extended for a further period of 90 days. That is the maximum period on submission of form GST RG 25. So a casual person or non-resident person, he can get the registration provided he pays the estimated tax liability on his entire turnover in advance, and his registration will be effective for 90 days. Further, it can be extended for further 90 days, but not beyond that. So maximum 180 days. Thereafter, he has to go again. I think maybe for that is not provided. Whether he can go for further extension of 90 days or whatever it is, nothing is provided in the law right now. I think in such cases, I think he may have to go for a permanent registration if he is going for more than 1 year.
So then you can go more casual.
But no, that is
Somebody
not.
is there for more than 180 days, you will not be calling him a casual.
No, they have not said 180 days is a limit for casual working days. They have not
That's an
said.
inference, you know.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. So he may have to go for a permanent registration in such cases. So that is what, but right now, they have not provided anything in that cell K. 90 ka further 90 plus 90, but it will not be extended for further 90 days.
This tax liability is more. I mean, if first day or whatever day he has deposited certain amount on estimate basis, and if tax liability is more, then what will happen?
He has to revise the estimate, no? And make the payment of those taxes. That is there for casual taxable person separate from these things.
But that means even refund, if it all comes a refund, then also you'll have to do a refund procedure over there.
He has to file his final return also. I think registration returns will take place when he will take it. I think all queries are associated. You have to ask me only for registration. Return के बारे में मुझे कुछ पता नहीं है. Suo motu registration. During the course of any survey, inspection, search, or inquiry under the Act, if officer is of the view that person is liable to registration and such person failed to apply for registration, proper officer may register such person on a temporary basis and issue an order in form GST RG 2013. So, if the officer thinks that a person is liable to register himself, may have got some done the transactions, and that person has not taken registration, in that case, suo motu registration will be granted, temporary registration. Such registration would be effective from the date of order of registration. See, right now, even if they do the assessment after inquiry or whatever it is, person may not take his registration. Appeal things will go on. He may contest the liability and whatever it is. But right now, here they are, because without registration, you cannot pay the taxes. Without registration, you cannot file your returns. Even for casual or worker also, they will give a temporary number. On that behalf, on that basis, you can pay the taxes. So without registration, you are not allowed to enter into that site itself, website GST. So he has to give temporary registration. So it will be effective from the date of order of registration. Such person has a right to file appeal petition against the order of grant of temporary registration. He has a right. He can make an appeal saying I am not liable to pay the taxes. Why should I register myself? That option is available with him. But at the first stage, he will be granted the temporary registration, so that if he wants to discharge the liability, he can discharge. And according to me, otherwise also, for filing appeal, they prescribe some deposits to be made. So without registration number, temporary registration, whatever it is, you will not be able to pay the fees also, for filing appeal also. I think that also will come into picture. So I think everybody will get the number. And all numbers will be PAN based. If that person is not having a PAN number, he has to first get the PAN number and then get a GST number. Person to whom temporary registration is granted has to apply for registration within 30 days from the date of grant of temporary registration. Either he has to appeal or he has to apply for a permanent registration within 30 days. Registration certificate would be effective from the date of order of registration. Before issuing certificate, verification will be carried out in the usual manner as provided in the rules. The normal verification rules are there. Everything is, all the documents will be verified, physical verification will happen, everything will be done, and accordingly we will grant the registration. Migration of a person registered under earlier law. This is most important. Every person who is registered under the earlier law, whether under the VAT or whether under the service tax law, he has to go for provisional registration. So having PAN shall be granted provisional registration in form GST RG 21, incorporating the GST and identification number there. That is what we are saying now. The portal is now made operative. This certificate would be valid for the period of 6 months from the date of its issue. I don't know, this provisional registration will be granted now. If it is effective till say after 1st April also, then how they will work? Because if the 1st April if it is going live, then they have to make that cutoff date 31st as a cutoff date. Because thereafter everything will go now. They cannot have provisional registration. But that is what the right now it is said. Every person who has been granted provisional registration shall submit an application electronically in form GST RG 20 within the period of 6 months. So again you have to apply. So if you are right now, if you have got the provisional registration, within 6 months from this date, you have to apply for the There are all the details of constitutions and all these things. Those you have to provide. On furnishing all the required documents, details, a certificate of registration in the form GST RG06 shall be made available to registered taxable person electronically. The problem here is, suppose if I am registered under VAT, as well as I am registered in service tax also, what will happen to these cases? But today only I have faced the same problem. One of my clients, he is registered under the VAT. We applied under VAT because Maharashtra is there. We have applied for him. He got a GST and temporary GST number. Now what will happen to his service tax number? Because service tax, first of all, he is having centralization. And that will start from January onwards. So whether, again for service tax he has to register himself, or even single that number which is there, which will take care of both VAT plus CST.
There is your existing numbers, IEC code number, excise duty code. On the first page itself, you had your VAT, CST, service tax, excise, IEC.
No, that when you apply also. No, what you are saying is correct. That when you are applying, it is a permanent apply. But January, suppose if you are getting, department said to you, okay, this is your number and all these things. Then you should write to them, okay, I will apply for the under the VAT or whatever number is there. You have to at least intimate to them. You have to take care of that because you will be under both the VAT plus service tax. Or somebody might go, say somebody might do not take the registration under VAT, no. Only under service tax. And what will happen to central registrations? Because you are having a one single registration in Maharashtra, say for maybe for 27 states. Now you have to apply in each state. Now how that will be taken care of sitting in Maharashtra?
Online.
Huh? No, online is there. Online to hai, everything is online. There is no doubt about it. What I am saying is, if for 27 states right now I am having one registration in Maharashtra as a central registration. Now I have to apply in all these things. And the irony is you have to file within 30 days. So if you have to take registration in 27 states maybe, you have to file all the documents. That to scan copies of the documents online on the government website.
Table space will work.
Huh?
Table space in other states will work.
No, why you want table space? It's online, you need to say why you want table space.
Office registration.
Registration.
That is required. That registration is there. I am not talking about their place. वो अभी तक वो क्या उसके लिए मैं नहीं आया हूँ. I am talking about the.
My registered office in Arunachal Pradesh, in Meghalaya, in Mizoram, sitting in Maharashtra. What address should I give? I have to take some table space.
Yeah. If you that is your see that is a individual client's lookup. If you want to take registration from that place, you have to have a principal place of business over there. You have to have proof of the proof for that place. Without that, registration will not be granted to you.
But Bharata, whether is it necessary to register them in all the states? You probably register in all those states where you really have the credit or you are operating.
Absolutely. It's not required. There is no point or fun in registering in all the 31 states. Just to show that I am registered everywhere. Just to have GST number 1 to like 21 there. Not required. Absolutely. If you require to register yourself in that state, then only you obtain the registration. Otherwise, it's not required.
Someone like Flipkart or Amazon will have to register in all the states, but they will be able to.
I don't know whether they will require or not because they will deduct only TCS. See, they will be deducting tax only.
They will be having business all across the.
No, they are having only one place. See, that depends. Now, take a case of a stockbroker. Stockbroker has to register in each state, like Senate did. If he suppose he is having a branch in Gujarat, right now he is discharging his entire tax liability for the entire India sitting in Mumbai. Now, if he is having a branch in Gujarat, the Gujarat branch will be consuming all the input services, inputs, whatever it is. Now, to avail credit of that input service, ITC credit, for that state, he has to register there. And for him, it is account link services. So, where the taxable person registered address is there. So, that is an issue. So, all these such kind of things will happen. And this is a live example of stockbroker. This is a live example. So, they have to register themselves. This one, what to say? One more example is of these courier agencies. They have to register. Now, right now I am having this client who is having a central registration. 250 locations are there. Not required 250 registrations, but at least 31, maximum 31. He has to register. If he has to avail the credit in that state, without that it will not happen. That is going to create problems. So service tax assesses lot of work for practitioners. Huh? Opportunity.
In additional place, can it be registered? See, they are saying 250 places, 31 will be registered. But all other places will also have to be registered.
Absolutely. You have to register each and every place
As additional.
as a register place. But registrations will be actually maximum 31.
Because each registration of additional place is also processed by Excel.
Yeah, no, it will be included in your main registration only, no? It means one single registration. Yeah, you have to give the document and all this things. So you will be required a big bada scanner. And what is the MBs and all these things will go in the department website of GSTN. 80 lakhs assessees. Imagine. That is what their target is. Yeah.
In Maharashtra, the enrolled assessees, they are not paying any tax because they are claiming threshold exemption, but they are registered. Till now they are registered, they are filing the returns. Now whether they need to apply for
You will cancel your registration.
under old act,
No, that provision I am coming to that. That is also there.
but first have to apply and then cancel.
No, you can just write there. No need to apply.
No need to apply.
So in Maharashtra, the enrollment date is up to 29th of November.
I am coming to that. Huh?
For each vertical, the separate number in the same state can be taken.
Yeah.
So in one state, I might be having 3 different verticals, so I can take a 3 number.
Yeah, numbers will be same, only that 13 digit will be 1, 2, 3 like that.
Okay.
Certificate of registration issued to taxable person may be cancelled if such person fails to furnish document details within the period of 6 months and issue order in form. So if you don't provide all the details within 6 months, your registration number will be cancelled. You will be treated as an unregistered dealer, though you were properly registered under the earlier one. Before
right now we are registering provisional number. Right now also they are asking for submission of all the documents. So
not all the documents, they are asking very few documents. I'll come to that. Subsequently, they will not ask much documents. Once those are submitted, they will not ask. I think these are the documents which they will not ask. Before cancellation of COR, that is the certificate, registration price shall be served an SCN in the form of GST 23, an opportunity of being heard will be provided. SCN stands for show cause notice. That is picked up from the service tax law or central insurance. Every person registered under earlier law not liable to be registered under the Act, he may add his option, file electronically an application in form GST RG 24 for the cancellation of the provisional COR granted to him. So in your case, you have to file the form 24 and get your registration cancelled. If you don't want to register under GST.
Also have to go for COR, provisional COR.
No, you have to go, provisional registration will be granted to you, so that you have to cancel that registration. Officer shall, after conducting such inquiry as deemed fit, cancel the said provisional registration. Now, enrollment plan for your state, which states you belong to?
Right. See, there is a 6-month window period. Now, if you have not filed a cancellation and if you have not filled up that form also, then also it will automatically cancel. So this is purposefully wanting to cancel, and otherwise also you can cancel.
Then how do we revive it?
Huh?
Apply again.
Apply again. तो कैंसिल करके वापस रिवाइव करना है. This is the schedule for the enrollment. Just come just I think on 8. 8 is a date which is happening date nowadays. We are concerned with Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Daman. Some friends are there from Delhi also. So for them I think it's 16/12 to 31/12. last date of depositing the money. Before that we should do. So every state they have given. Now they have not said if you don't do that provisional by that day, then what will happen? कुछ बुरा नहीं है. So we have, it's in I don't know, it's in vacuum now, right now. But the 14, only yesterday they have brought that, some circular of that in the Maharashtra website. Okay, how do you have to enroll and all these things. So I don't know, they will allow. It's only I think to divide the load on the website, GSTN network. Just to divide that load, they have planned it different in a different dates. But otherwise, I think everybody can do up to 20th of March. I think. Huh? Service tax. No, but I think it will be done. It will be around.
The window will be open to 31st Jan for all those who miss the chance.
The 31st December is the 31st Jan.
Third time.
Oh, hey, it will go on. Extension is our birthright. And nobody can deny that, Following information.
If somebody does not register before 29th November, is there anything?
I added two, 3 slides. I forgot to upload that. Following information should be kept handy before enrolling the GST account holder. Provisional ID received from the state and central authorities. Password received from the state and central authorities. Valid email addresses, valid mobile number, bank account number, bank IFSC. So all these things you have to keep handy because those has to be entered when you are going for a provisional registration.
So the previous slide, the email address and the mobile number, for each state where you have it separate or for
No, you can use it.
Because for income tax they are allowing one email, one number, one time for the identification and everything.
I don't think so.
Will it make a difference?
I don't think why it will make a difference because it's a single company.
No, I have got 31 registrations, 31 adjustments, 31 states. So email IDs will be separate.
Right now it is in the testing stage. I also don't know whether, but according to me, single email ID will be allowed. And single, only the problem, single email ID is okay because he has to go to the computer. But single mobile number जो person का है, उसका क्या लगने वाला है problems? वो आप समझ सकते हो? I don't see. I think department will not make a mandatory that you should have separate.
No, the system will make it because just for.
I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so.
For individual signature, one ID, one number.
Do you think that you need 31 people to handle 31 states in a one company? 31 mobile numbers. Why? Is it a mutual understanding between Jio and? Why? I don't understand. Why? But anyway, what you are thinking, because sometimes silly thinking, makes us to think, that way, whether it will be allowed or not. Good question. No, I understand. Even in income tax also it is there.
It is the same problem.
I am told by my client they use the same email ID and for 3 different companies.
3 different companies. No, he is talking about one company. आप और further जा रहे हो. So सोचो आप कि अगर रिलायंस का एक बंदा है, नहीं, I understand. But I'm saying रिलायंस का एक बंदा है, उसका मोबाइल नंबर, उसका ईमेल आईडी दिया है. अभी उसकी सारी ग्रुप कंपनीज का अगर उसी का दिया है तो he has never has to sleep because you don't know the number which is there. What is the problem he is going to face? इन सेनवर्ड क्रेडिट मैचिंग नहीं हुआ तो उसको रात को मैसेज आने वाला है. So the plight of that person you will not come to know. You will come to know only when you give your number. So I don't think the person will give his number unless until incentives will be given to him.
At present, where sister concerns they are having the same mobile number, email ID are not accepted.
So I think that will be done. But I think for one company you can have one mobile number for all the 31 registrations or one email ID. This is what the process to get the provisional ID password. Login, all existing web users can log in. This is not there in this thing because it has come yesterday only. Click on e-services, it will direct you to GST enrollment ID page. Click on return filing. I don't know, registration के लिए return filing भी क्यों जाना है? But then temporary support, so that is all there. Message box will be appear to get access to GST provisional ID. Click yes. GST form will appear. Input details like applicant name, email ID, mobile numbers. You have to be very particular because if you put a wrong email ID and wrong mobile number, then किसी को message चला जाएगा of your company. So that you have to be very clear. Click on get OTP, input OTP and click submit button. Even after doing one registration today, thereafter again the site has given the problem. So I think the process will take its own time. So an OTP, one-time password is there. Message box will appear. Download that. Yesterday the message box was not appearing. Download the acknowledgement. अभी acknowledgement download नहीं होता. You cannot download that acknowledgement. You have to take a print screen and keep it in the Word file. So download the acknowledgement. You will get provisional ID token number for login, log on and GST. The token or access number है. That is a multi-digit. उसमें कोई capital है, कोई है. So you have to be very careful. If you are writing, so better to save it on the Word file, print screen. So go to GST portal. Thereafter, what you have to do is go to GST portal www.gst.gov.in. Click on new user login. How this site will fare when you know everybody will be online. This is fun to listen, you know, because 80 lakhs assessors on one site and with multiple registrations. So, yeah?
Just like IRCTC site is site.
सर IRCTC सुबह 8 बजे खुलता है. ये तो 24/7 है. और वो 8 बजे बंद भी हो जाता है वापस. A declaration page is displayed. Select the checkbox and click continue. Enter provisional ID password as written on the acknowledgement downloaded previously and click login. ID verification page is displayed. Enter email address and mobile number. Click continue. First time you enter email ID, mobile, same you have to enter. आदमी छोड़ के क्या दूसरा हो गया ऐसा नहीं है. You have to enter the same thing because it will go to that person OTP. Now the word, it is said one time password, but every time it is going to the same person. So he has to be there, he has to be online, he has to be with you when you do the registration. That is also most important. The person's mobile number, mobile is with that person, and that person also has to be with you when you do all this ones. You input the data. New credentials page is displayed. Enter the username and password as per the instructions given. Click continue. Username and password is also, it's not that you can have your own password. My love, my wife, nothing. You have to have one uppercase, one special character, one lowercase, and one numeric number. And 8 to 15. That is must. Without that, it will not accept. And it is not allowed to, you can see also. Like, there is a facility given. You can see when you enter the password, you can see that password. You can view that password. But there it is not allowed. So you have to be very careful. कि caps lock बंद है कि नहीं है, चालू है कि नहीं है, very difficult. So you have to be very careful while entering the password. So I would advise, normally what we start with, this is what I have done today itself, before I came. The first letter itself you make a capital because that is must. One capital is must. Then you have a company name or whatever it is. And then you have 1, 2, 3 dot, 1, 2, 3 star, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 hash. Otherwise, you are going to that. Otherwise, you have to go for forget password and all this thing. All Jamera will start. And first of all, getting registration at first stage itself is difficult. So forget password के बाद वापस करना है. You are gone.
The spatial characters also they have defined that those particular spatial characters.
I don't know. Who is the special character? That is also from the word which are the special characters. Forget about that keyboard. But that is what it is difficult. But you have to do it. Security questions will be displayed. It is compulsory to answer all the 5 questions given below. And this will help you to retrieve password in future in case it is forgotten. Now click submit button. All 5 security questions you have to give. I have not gone through the security questions. But so if your employee has left in between, then he has left you in between.
First employee of the company.
First employer of the first employee. 1912 में जो फॉर्म हुआ है उसको क्या मालूम पड़ेगा? The best way is to have for all the questions one answer. And your wife's name, so you will not forget. Date of birth of property, that is given, I think, name of the comedy and all this, but it is very difficult because bank also asks security questions. So it is better to have one, whatever, depending upon the individual's choice. Username password is now successfully changed using the new ID password. Log into the GST common product in existing user login. A welcome page is displayed. They will not offer any welcome drink. It's only welcome page. Enrollment application form is displayed. Enter details in the form. Upload document as specified below. Partnership date in case of partnership firm. RC in other cases, or registration certificate in other cases. That is for constitution of business.
Sir, what about sole proprietor business main concern?
Proprietor business का जरूरत नहीं है. He himself is a PAN itself is the. Sir, I will tell them to give these 3 slides subsequently. Don't worry. Or the best way you can take a photograph. Don't take mine. So, principal place of business, all premises, electricity bill, rented lease premises, rent lease agreement, or electricity bill, others, consent letter, and electricity bill. So, electricity bill is must, and that is also latest is required. You can't take 1 year back. That is what they are saying. Opening page of bank passbook or statement in the name of business containing account name, account number, MIS, MICR, IFSC code, branch detail. Authorized signatory details, letter of authorization, board resolution of the managing committee or BOD for each authorized signatory. Photograph, proprietor, authorized person, Karta, HUF, managing director and company, and managing trustee. So these are the documents you are required for going for a provisional position. I think what you are giving me, I think what you are saying, further documents, I don't think it will be required. But they may ask for certain documents if they are not there in their side. Since this is going, everything will be scanned copies kept on their records. So,
document of society.
Huh?
Society.
Society constitution of which RC certificate is required.
No photograph.
Photograph of that managing trustee or whoever. Chairman.
So the authorized signatories का photo नहीं है. That may there is a difference.
So authorized signatory is fair. Yes. The documents you have to file size, format, and maximum allowable size. Different things are listed. JPEG or JPEG PDF, 1 MB for proof of constitution, or your photograph will be only 100 KB. So that is there in the side, that is there in the PPT. This slide is there. Only 3 slides are there. The photographs, See, it's going to be very difficult because if they specify this size, you cannot have your fancy photograph. And problem is, you have to literally crop that photograph and all these things. So how much work you have to do? To reduce the size of that maximum allowable size, you have to crop the entire document. So it is very difficult. I have faced a problem for filing the form 1 for under amnesty. It was not accepting only assessment order. With that statutory order, I had to file with the form 1. If I put entire scan copies of 5 pages, it was not accepting. I said 4 pages, I accept. 2 pages. Then ultimately I just uploaded 1 page, that's all. And then he has asked, now you will give me the copies. What nonsense. So, I understand, but they should allow, something like either in a zip file or something like that, but then this is what they all about. So you have to go as per this, now you have to crop the entire thing. Amendment in registration. If there is any change in the details, information furnished at the time of registration or submitted subsequently, registered taxable person shall intimate such changes within 15 days of such changes in form GST RG 11 electronically. Right now we are under VAT 30 days and the service days also we have 30 days. So it is reduced to 15 days now. So all amendments, changes, if you want to do any changes, you have to do it. Now if the changes are related to name of business, principal place of business, details of directors, partners or committee, etc., doesn't warrant cancellation of registration, officer will approve amendment within 15 common working days and issue order in the form GST RG 12. If changes are related to any particular other than the specified above, then certificate of registration shall be stand amended upon submission of application GST RG 11. However, change in mobile number or the email address shall be verified out. It shall be carried out only after verification through common portal. So if you want to change any mobile number and all these things, you go to that first. So that will be done through OTP only. Everything will be done through OTP. So you have to be very careful while giving the numbers, email address and email. Any rejection or approval of amendment under CGST, HST shall be deemed to be rejection or approval under HGST, CGST Act accordingly. So as you want for registration, you are having same way. Similar applicable to amendment also. Cancellation of registration. If it is done by taxable person, means if you are doing on your own, the registered taxable person seeking cancellation of his registration under certain circumstances shall electronically submit an application in form GST RG 14. Now what are the circumstances? Business has been discontinued, business is transferred fully on account of amalgamation with another entity, demerger, dispose of, death of a proprietor, change in the constitution of a business, taxable person is no longer liable to be registered under Schedule 3. So in such cases, you can do the cancellation on your own. Person who has obtained registration voluntarily can cancel registration after expiry of 1. So voluntary registration, if you obtain voluntary registration, then you can cancel only after 1 year. Till that 1 year you cannot do the cancellation. This is to avoid the bogus or hawala dealers. He has to submit the details of closing stocks and liability thereon along with the application, relevant documents in support thereof. This is a change from the present system. You whenever you are going to cancel your registration, you have to give the closing stock details plus whatever assets are there, because you have to pay tax on those things. Either you have to reverse the credit or you have to pay the tax. Even the assets retained after deregistration, on that also you have to pay the taxes, because you already have the ITC on that. Such a taxable person seeking cancellation have to furnish a final return as provided under the Rule 19. So everybody who is going to cancel his registration, either casual, non-resident taxable person or regular dealer, he has to furnish his final return. Now this final return is only in case of cancellation. It's not for a normal dealer. For a normal dealer, there will be regular returns and annual returns. Proper officer, that is if the officer is cancelling the registration, But there are events under which a proper officer can cancel the registration. A proper officer has a reason to believe that registration of a taxable person is liable to be cancelled. Under certain circumstances, he may issue SCR in form GST RG 250 and request taxable person to reply within 7 days why his registration should not be cancelled. Now, what are the circumstances under which it should be cancelled? I'll see that side subsequently. Link wrong. Cancellation of registration shall not affect the liability of the taxable person to pay the tax. Okay. Officer may cancel the registration of taxable person from such date, including any anterior date, where registered taxable person has contravened provisions of the law. So this, if you contravene any provisions of the law, if you are not attended his office, we call you, you can cancel the registration. Taxable person discharging tax liability under composition has not furnished return for 3 consecutive tax periods. For if 9 months, a composition dealer has not furnished his returns, registration number will be cancelled. Now it is very easy because he has to cancel online. You have to make application again online. Again he has to revive online. Everything online. But this will happen, I am saying, because if you are not filing your returns, it is going to happen. Under VAT also they have started now. Taxable person has not furnished returns for a continuous period of 6 months. If you are not filing your returns for a continuous period of 6 months, your registration number will be cancelled. Taxable person who have obtained registration voluntarily and not commenced business within 6 months from the date of registration. So people are taking just voluntary registration, they say, hanging me, it's not allowed. If they don't do the business, no turnover is there, it will be cancelled. But VAT also they have started now. They are seeing last 3 years and they are giving the notices, show notices, why your registration should not be cancelled. Cancellation of registration shall not affect the liability of the taxable person to pay the tax and other dues for the period prior to the date of death. It doesn't mean that your registration number is cancelled means your liabilities are waived off. Nothing. Prior to that date, everything is liable, you are liable to pay. This is a flow chart just explaining to determine the requirement for registration. Are you carrying on any business? If no, no need to register. If yes, if you supply taxable, if your supplies are taxable, yes, does your annual turnover exceed that regular threshold limit, 20 lakhs now, what is they are saying? If yes, then you are required to register. If no, then you are not required to register. GST and return process, new taxable person. This was acknowledge my dear friend and the next speaker Ashish Bhai. New taxable person, GST applying RG1, acknowledgement RG02, verification by proper officer. If okay, finalization will be granted. If not okay, show cause notice will be issued to you. This is a word used because normally we are seeing assessment and all this thing, but under service tax, central excise, there is a show cause notice and there is an identification happens. So file reply, GST RG4, verification by proper officer, application rejected, you are gone. You again go back and ask for this thing. Now what will happen whether if the application is rejected, whether you can apply for that again, that is not provided. We don't know whether it will be given or not, we don't know that. Return I am not going to because he is going to take that. GST process, existing registered dealers, present project, provision for government for existing registered dealers. Validity period is 6 months from the date of issue. Existing registered dealers, GST, yes, submit GST RG20 within that time, that 6 months is granted. Or apply for cancellation or provisionalization if you don't want to continue yourself under that cancellation. And if you are not giving the documents, then show cause notice will be issued. If you are giving the documents properly, then finalization will be issued. These are all the different forms. We will be governed by forms. Because under registration itself, I think there are 26 to 28 forms. Under registration itself. 26 forms are there. So everything will be documented basically. That is the most important. So whatever they want to give, and they have to give everything electronically. Nothing will come to a manual scheme. Now payment online or manual? Everything manual online है तो फिर manual क्या होगा? So all payment of tax, how to make payment of tax, interest, penalty or any other amount has to be deposited in the government treasury by taxable by using internet banking, credit card, debit card, NEFT, RTGS, OTC. No cash payments are allowed above 10,000 rupees. OTC mode have to be used for deposits up to 10,000 per challan per tax period by cash, check or demand. Otherwise, cash, check, demand drafts are not allowed. So everything has to be done through a net banking, RTGS, NEFT.
Can you break up the payment?
Yes?
Can you break up the payment?
See, this is said per challan per tax period. So how you can break up your? For 1 month, if it is more than 10,000, you want to say that I have 15,000, then 7 plus 8. It's not possible. You have to make through these channels only. Charges as a commission, etc. have to be borne by the taxpayer. The commission, I think they will definitely for NEFT and RTGS, not for net banking and all these things. So debit cards and credit cards will be, the additional. I think today we don't have debit card credit cards. That is there.
Debit credit card of the assessee of the consultant. Debit credit card payment by the assessee account of consultant.
कंसल्टेंट का क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज करने के बाद पेमेंट नहीं आया तो क्या करोगे आप? So it is better that assessee should use his debit card credit. Unless and until you take credit card payment, then have the credit card. Let that credit card be directly debited to his account. Then you have to use credit card. No issue. Restriction of using OTC shall not apply to deposits made by government departments. So government departments can make the payment even the manual payments, check, DD, cash. Recovery of dues by the officer when person is not registered. When he is having the suo motu registration. In such cases when the recovery is happening, that time that recovery may be done through the check and DD. Recovery of taxes during investigation or enforcement activity or any ad hoc deposits by the officer. So in such cases only the manual payments are allowed, otherwise payment payments are not allowed. Payments have to be made by generating challan from GST and PMT4 from GSTN, and this challan would be valid for a period of 15 days. It's not that directly you are making a payment now. Directly you are making a challan is there, bank payment. It is not like that. You have to generate a challan now. And then generate challan will be reflected in your electronic credit liability, tax liability register, which you have to pay to the government. So there will be ECL, that is electronic cash ledger, where all your deposits will come. There will be electronic credit ledger, where all your credits will come, ITC, and there will be electronic tax liability register, where all your liabilities will be shown. Payments would be to the credit of electronic cash ledger, as I explained you. Such ECL shall be maintained in the form of GST payment 3 for each taxable person by GSTN. As I said, this credit ledger will be for Maharashtra state separate, for Gujarat separate. It is not a combined for all entire India. It will be different for different states. So whatever you deposit from the bank, it will be come to the credit ledger. ITC as sale process in the return of taxable person shall be credited to his electronic credit ledger maintained in form GST payment 2 on a common portal by GST. Amount available ECL, that is electronic cash ledger, can be used for making payment of taxes, interest and penalty and any other. I think once the payment is made, the only option available to you is either you have a liability which can be adjusted or you have to ask for a refund. So very careful while making the payment, because internet, even a zero extra, then you will be haywire. So you have to be very careful. Balance in this account or result would be refunded after making payment of taxes, interest, penalty fees or any other amount payable if any. It is depending upon your wish if you want to claim the refund. or it can be adjusted in the subsequent period liability. Amount collected as a CGST, SGST shall be deduced to the extent of refund amount. A unique identification number shall be generated at the common portal for each debit or credit to ECL. So whatever credit cash ledgers you are making, whatever credits, which will have a UID number, UN number, this number would be indicated at the time of discharging tax liability in electronic tax liability register. Like your liabilities will be there, which is receivable by the government. And whatever you are making a payment will be debited over there. This is just a bank account, the bank passbook like that. Electronic tax liability register ETLR. ETLR shall be maintained in form GST payment 1 on the common portal, and all amount payable by the taxable person shall be debited to the said register. So you will a debit balance will be there. The government has to recover that much amount from you, and it will be recovered through ECL and electronic credit ledger both. Amount debited in ETLR would be amount payable towards in tax, interest, late fees, any other amount payable as per the return filed by taxable person. Now if you are filing the late, see, tax and all these things when you file the returns, but interest and late fees will be automatically calculated. You don't have any option now. It will be automatically calculated and shown as your liability. Amount payable towards interest, tax, interest, late fees, or any other amount payable as determined by a proper officer in pursuance of any proceeding. So any tax liability which is there according to the adjudication, that also will be reflected here. So you will have only one ledger. Even appeals and all these things, the entire thing will come into the one electronic tax liability register. From cash ledger, you can pay all the interest penalty cannot be paid from the credit ledger. Amount debited in ETLR would be, as I said, the normal tax liability, any taxable adjudication. Amount of tax and interest payable as a result of mismatch under section 29, 29A, 43C. Mismatch, you know, that the ITC mismatch is there. You, whatever your input supplies, if the other person has not shown the output supplies, then you will not get the credit. If you have shown the credit in your ledger, this will be added to your liability and you have to pay the tax on that. Any amount of interest that may accrue from time to time. So everything will be automatically calculated. You are not supposed to calculate everything. You have to just sit like this before the computer. Payment of every liability of registered taxable person as per his return shall be made by debiting ECL and ETLR shall be credited accordingly. So debit credit entry will be passed accordingly. Discharge of tax liability. Every taxable person shall discharge his tax liability and other dues in following order. See, whatever balance is there in your account, you don't have any prerogative. I will do by ऐसे करूँगा मैं ऐसे करूँगा नहीं. They are defined in order. Self-assessed tax and other dues related to return of previous tax periods. Then self-assessed tax and other dues related to return of a current tax period. Then any other amount payable including revenue. So first previous tax periods का जो return का dues रहेगा that will be adjusted. Then self-assessed tax for the current period, and then balance if anything is there, it will be adjusted as any recovery of demand. UN number, that is unique identification number, would be generated at the common portal for each debit and credit of the ECL and ETLR. I don't know this unique identification number, how many digits will be there, because 80 lakhs SSCs and UN number will be there for everything. For every entry, debit, credit entry, even for the invoicing reference number also will be there. That is also some number there will be generated. GST and Challan process. Registered taxable person, GSMT, mode of payments, internet banking, credit card, NEFT, over-the-counter payment. For internet banking, submit to the bank GS seal generated, submit to the bank for payment, and it is reflected in the ECL. For credit card, debit card, every card has to be registered on the common portal. You cannot just use your card, flash your card, and swipe करके नहीं हो सकता. You have to register that thing over there. In case of NEFT RTP, you have to submit mandate form to the bank and which will be valid for 15 days. For over the counter OTC, take a temporary identification number from the proper officer and up to 10,000 per challan per tax period except for government employee. This is what the GST process. Again, there are 6 forms over here, different list of forms. Yes.
Can you make an advance payment for the GST? Because if you are saying return,
It will go to your account.
directly we can pay before that generation of return itself.
Because they have separate account, electronic taxability registration is there, electronic cash deal is there. So people are saying that now we don't have to have the money to pay. We are talking about advance payment.
So I'm asking.
You can make the advance payment. Government will not debar you. Only in the registration certificate once time I think missed, which the registration certificate is to be displayed at all the principal place of business, and at the same time the registration certificate is to be displayed on the name board also. So what we see in foreign countries, generally Karan Johar वगैरह दिखाते रहते हैं, you know, so that GSTN number has to be displayed on the name board also. On your name, outside name board is there has to be displayed. So if you are myself, chartered BM Shamlani company, chartered accountant, my name board is there outside my office, then my GST number has to be reflected. Problem will happen only in case like southern states, Tamil Nadu वगैरह. Whether they will insist that our number will be in that language only, then there will be issue. But otherwise it should be. I think that's a good thing because you will come to know whether the person is registered or not. And this is basically happens in case of this refunds and all these things. VAT का refund अगर कोई चाहे exports कर रहे तो that will happen. But everybody has to display that number. Registration certificate has to be displayed. But the number also to be displayed on the name board.
Electronic ledger will run for more than a year.
It will be continuous. It will be lifelong till the time you are live. Means the assessee is live, not you. So, but name board, that number is to be displayed. It's a good thing actually, I would say.
यमराज का चोपड़ा.
हाँ?
यमराज का चोपड़ा.
हाँ, like. Sir, but it will start only from 1st April. जो आपने पाप अभी तक किए हुए हैं 8 तारीख के पहले, वो तो अब निकल जाएंगे. चिंता मत कीजिए. If taxpayer fails to pay the tax or any part thereof within the prescribed time limit, 20 is the month, 20th of the next month, due date of filing return. You have return filing is you will take. It's 20th, payment of tax was on 20th. You can make the earlier. It will be your electronic cash ledger or credit ledger, whatever it is. Pay interest at such a rate as may be notified on the recommendation of the council by the central government. Right now, we are having 15% and 18% if you are corrected or not paid under the service tax. I think same, more or less same thing will happen here also. Interest shall be calculated from the first day of such tax was to be due to be paid till the actual date of payment. And mind the other thing, this will be calculated automatically because they will inform you the liability to be paid if you are that input tax rate is not allowed in all these things. And it will not allow you to file the returns unless anything you make the payment. If taxpayer makes an undue or excess claim of ITC, he shall be liable to pay interest on such undue or excess claim. Yes.
In case of a company having a principal place of business in Maharashtra, say Bombay, and is executing works contracts in some other state, it may not have any permanent place of business in that state. And as per the taxation laws, you have to pay the tax and register in that state where you are executing the works contract. So in that case, what address will be given? The company may not have any permanent address there.
You can register as a casual person. If your work is only for 90 days or extended for further 90 days, you can register yourself.
No, it's a type of maybe there will be some type of comprehensive maintenance contracts.
You have to take the decision.
So what address can be given then?
You have to give that. But why you want to register yourself in that state?
Because
you can provide service from here also. No?
The service are provided here, but actually the execution does.
That depend upon the place of supply.
Yeah, the place of supply
that you have to
is.
decide where. See, if you are going to render service there, and you want to take the benefit of that state, whatever supplies you are purchasing, supplies you are receiving, like the goods or some services, and you want to take the benefit of those ITC in that state, then only the question of service regime will come in that state. Otherwise, by and large, I don't think, like a chartered accountant providing service to a, say, if I am providing a service to a registered taxable person in Mumbai, then I have to pay CGST, SGST. But if the registered taxable person is, the address of that person is in Delhi, then I will charge IGST. There is no need that I should register in Delhi. That is not required.
Okay.
So you have to go by the place of supply. But service providers will definitely have issues because under VAT anyway there are multiple issues are already there state-wise. For service tax there are centralization, so there the issue will be there. TDS provisions, as I said, you have RCM, you have TDS, you have TCS. So everything, the burden is cast on the assessee to pay the taxes, collect the taxes and pay to the government. Deductor, following are the liable to deduct tax under section 37(1). Department or establishment of the central or state government, local authorities or government agencies or such other persons or category of persons as may be notified by the central or state government on the recommendation of the GST Council. See, we only expect that they will have uniform law, uniform GST Act as well as uniform GST rules. Otherwise, if every state has been given power to have their own laws or own rules according to their whims and fancies, then it is going to be a chaos. Because you may have 10 lakh rupees in Maharashtra, the other state may have 5 lakh rupees. So how it will be a unified tax, one India, one tax, one nation, one tax? It's not going to advocate those things. So I think that is going to happen only if we have one law. They may adopt it according to their own things, but it will be one law, service, that is GST law and the GST rules. Deductee is a supplier of taxable goods or supplies or services notified by the central or state government on the recommendation of the council. Right now, in VAT we have this works contract or right to use is there. So in such cases the TDS is happening. I think the same case we will do here also. Basically the unorganized sector where they ask for the organized sector only will come into the TDS and the RCM network. When to deduct tax? Total value of supplies exceed rupees 10 lakh. I think this will have to be revised now. Looking at the 20 lakh rupees level. But right now they have said it is a, as I said, it is going on the earlier limit of 10 lakh rupees registration. So it may be revised. The value of supply shall be taken as the basic amount before tax indicated in invoice. Rate of TDS, 1% of payment made or credited to the supplier of taxable goods or services. So that is there. 1% of the TDS you have to deduct. Deposit of TDS up to the 10th of the following month, failure to deduct will attract interest. So by 10th, you have to file your outward supplies also, or you have to pay your TDS also. Because by 10th you pay and you file your returns, then only the other person will get the credit. The person of you deducting will get the credit. Issue of TDS certificates within 5 days of crediting the amounts so deducted to appropriate government. So you have to issue the TDS certificates